So hello everyone, this is Javiera for 1133 Podcast, and today I'm with Diaz. Diaz, I'll tell you a little bit of who he is. He's an acclaimed visionary, a transformational guide, a change agent. He's also an author, a film producer, and an online writing host, which is super interesting because we share that passion, both of us. What he does is that he guides others to remember their gift, their value, and we are going to be talking about purpose today and other topics that are going to come to the table. So, Diaz, I'm really thrilled to be talking with you this morning here in Bali, and I know that you are on the other side of the world. So, welcome.
Well, thank you for having me, Javi. I greatly appreciate you, and I love your energy, by the way. So thank you for having me.
You're most welcome. I'm really excited that you're here and you have taken the time to speak with me and to everyone that is listening.
Absolutely. Let's rock. Let's do this.
Let's rock that. So the first thing that comes to me when I was looking at all the work you've been putting out there, like I see someone who is so busy with delivering a message, busy in the good way, right? Because I feel you're passionate about what you're doing. And you talk a lot about purpose. So this is the first thing that I would like to talk about or dig into. Why is purpose so important? Why do you put so, much energy into guiding people to find their own purpose?
Well, okay, so I'll tell your audience right now. In November I turned 59 years old, and the first 40 years of my life, I had a lot of peaks and valleys. It was like a roller coaster ride. One day I would have everything, a beautiful home, a nice car, a great job, a lot of money, great relationship. And then 6 months, a year, 3 years later, I'd be in a deep valley of despair, and either I'd be struggling, it broke, or I didn't have my home anymore, or a relationship went bad, and I got tired of it. I got tired of the roller coaster ride. And I wanted to have a better understanding how humanity coexisted with life. Because I used to think that some people were more blessed than I was. I used to think that some people were luckier than me. I used to think that other people got better cards dealt to them, or these are the cards that I was dealt with. I used to think that this is how life is. I used to think it was normal. And then I got to the point where, I had enough. I wanted to understand how humanity coexisted with life. And as I went in that quest, and as I went in that journey to have a greater understanding, I went through a bunch of life experiences that eventually I realized that we all have a reason why we are here. We all have a purpose. We all have a why. We all have a what. We're not here to struggle or live in fear. We're here to live and thrive. But if we don't wake up and understand and accept that fact and remind ourselves, that we are here for a reason, then we're going to go on that, like what I went through my first 40 years, through that struggle and that roller coaster ride. And eventually, like I said, I realized that we all have a reason. We all have a calling. We all have a purpose or a value that we bring forth into this life for ourselves and for the world.
Diaz, in your own experience, how did that struggle serve you?
Actually, that's a great question. Nobody's ever asked me that question before. That's great. One of the things that I just recently realized in the last, probably in the last 12 months is the struggle that I had in my first 40 years was an impetus to push me, to get me out of what I was going through, to get me to the other side of the veil, to get me to move forward. And if I wasn't going to open my eyes and my mind and my heart to understand what I was going through, it was not necessary, but it was a teacher to get me to evolve. Then I was going to stay there, and I was going to keep recycling until I finally got it and move forward. Fast forward, what I recently realized is not only is a struggle the teacher, but the bigger teacher or the bigger wisdom. Oh, here we go. The bigger wisdom or the biggest treasure is the pain. Because when you dive into the pain, when you go head first, and humanity has a tendency to shy away from pain, move away from pain. They prefer pleasure. And I understand that because pain doesn't feel good. You know, people don't like going through pain, whether it's emotional, mental, spiritual, or physical, financial, even, you know, any kind of giving up, even life-changing events. People do not like going through pain, so they shy away from it. But in reality is, you know, what's I just said, what's a bigger teacher than the struggle is the pain. And when you dive head first into the pain, and I don't know if you ever felt it, but when you get to the other side, you feel liberated. You feel freedom. Like you go, wow. I mean, don't get me wrong, it sucks going through pain. It doesn't feel good, and it's very uncomfortable. And I'm not gonna say it's easy, but I'll tell you what, instead of avoiding it, if you go into pain and deal with it and go head first, I don't care if you gotta cry for 3 days straight, you know, whatever the pain is. When you go through that pain, when you get to the other side, you'll feel free. Like the shackles are broken. You feel liberated. So it's not only a struggle, a teacher, or there's wisdom there, but what's more has more wisdom, or what the treasure is the pain itself, the core issue. And when you get to the other side, oh my goodness, it's freedom.
Like, I cannot love what you're saying more.
Thank you.
This is exactly what you're saying is we have this tendency of avoiding pain, of avoiding that side of us that are, you know, painful, and it's uncomfortable. And so many people are coming and sharing this message so many times that it's about actually experiencing everything that we have inside and not avoiding that. And we go, as you were saying, through that. And I want to ask you, what happened after you start realizing this and starting like being so diligent in like really going through this? What happened when you came across that? What opened in your life?
The biggest thing that happened to me, and the foundation that I function from or live from, is the reality and the understanding of loving myself. That is my foundation. That is absolutely everything. That is the foundation that I create everything in my life from, is the fact that self-care, that I love myself. I grew up in a Hispanic culture, and in Hispanic culture, familia comes first. Mm-hmm. You know, you got to take care of your elders. You got to support your family. You got to provide for your family. Everybody else comes first. And you know, and the person comes either second, third, or 10th, or 20th, or 30th. You know, they're like down the ladder. And so that's how I was raised. I mean, don't get me wrong, I was raised to respect myself, to take care of myself, you know, to be polite to myself. But nobody ever taught me, hey, love yourself. So everybody else came first. Well, when I went through this quest and this journey, I realized, and especially when you're going through struggle and pain, you got to be fortified somehow. You know, obviously prayer and meditation all works, and it's important, and contemplation is important, but there's got to be something that inside you that drives you, the strength and the courage from within. And the only way you can, well, not the only way, but the best way to tap into that courage and the strength that we all came here, all of us have it, is to love yourself. Because when you love yourself, then you prioritize that you're important. Then you realize that you're number one. Then you realize you have value to bring to this world. Then you realize that you matter.
Oh. Diaz, that's like beautiful. Just integrating your words.
Thank you.
From a practical way, you know, we sometimes are in that space of like, I want to love myself, or I do love myself, right? What I want to ask you is like, practically speaking, maybe you want to share in your own life. How do you love yourself?
I will. Can I share an exercise?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I guarantee your audience, it will shift your life within 30 days.
Beautiful.
Okay, so this is what you do tonight, and I'm going to ask you to do it, because in 30 days I'm going to ask you how much your life has shifted. Okay?
I will have to do it. I have homework now. Thank you.
Okay. So tonight, before you go to bed, You have done everything you have to do. You have your pajamas on or whatever you sleep in. All you have left is to go to bed. I want you to go to a mirror and look into your eyes, inside your pupils, not at the reflection of your face, not at the reflection of your eyes, but inside your pupils. And I want you to take 3 deep breaths. And then I want you to tell yourself, then I want you to tell yourself, I honor who you are and what you are 3 times. I honor who you are and what you are 3 times. Take 3 deep breaths. And then I want you to tell yourself, I absolutely love you 3 times. I absolutely love you 3 times. And then take 3 deep breaths and then go to bed. And the reason why you do this right before you go to bed, because these are the last words you tell yourself. And when you're asleep and you're at peace, your body, mind, and spirit are more apt to accept it as truth. Now, as soon as you wake up in the morning, before you go to the bathroom, before you brush your teeth, before you wash your face, I want you to go back to the same mirror and repeat the process. 3 deep breaths. I honor who you are, what you are 3 times. 3 deep breaths. I absolutely love you three times, and then 3 deep breaths, and then to go ahead and start your day. And the reason why I want you to do it before you do anything is because when you're half awake, half asleep, you're in an altered state, and your body, mind, and spirit are more apt to accept it as truth. I guarantee you, if you do this every night and every morning, within 30 days, you will see a shift in your life. What I don't know is to what degree. Some people have small shifts and some people have miracles. Now, I don't know the reason for that, for whatever, but I know you will have a shift and you will start noticing different things happening in your life.
I love it. I'm totally going to start doing it. I can feel when you're speaking the shift. It's such a simple exercise, but it goes so deep. What I would like to say goes through the beliefs of being, feeling unworthy, or all these beliefs that we can talk about. And actually, I would like to ask you, what stops us from loving ourselves?
A couple of things. Okay. And so one of them's ego. Okay. Mm-hmm. And for those who do not know what ego is an accumulation of attitudes, opinions, philosophies, way of thinking that we've been told since we were born. And it could come from our parents, from our family, from our peers, from our friends, from society, from the media, from everywhere and everywhere. You either consciously or unconsciously accept these truths, and we live by this false personality, and we function from this. Well, so it becomes this personality, and ego tries to convince you that this is the way to survive. Because it's not really living, it's surviving. It's taking you away from your authentic self, from who you truly are deep down inside. And so ego becomes your master. And again, ego is very intelligent. It's very knowledgeable. It has all this information since you were born. So it's very intelligent. But it's not meant to be our master or our authority figure. It's meant to be our servant, because it's very knowledgeable. It knows how to get from point A to point B. So it knows how to get from one point to another point. But the difference is it becomes our master. And when it becomes our master, it convinces us that we don't have to love ourselves, that it's got it all in control. We're okay. Yeah, we had our ups and downs. That's what I went through my first 40 years. When I started loving myself, I had a battle with my ego. My ego, here's the best example I could give you. If you give a 2 or 3 year old an ice cream cone and you let them lick the ice cream for 2 or 3 times, and then you grab the ice cream cone away from the toddler, what's the toddler going to do?
It wants the ice cream back.
Yeah, it's going to scream and cry, right? Well, that's the same thing with the ego. The ego, all of a sudden, you're empowering your heart by loving yourself, and your ego is going to go, wait a minute. I'm going to use myself as an example. Hey, Al, for 40 years, yeah, we had our ups and downs, but we're okay. We're okay. You don't need to be doing this. And then all this fear starts coming in, because ego doesn't want to relinquish the power and the authority that it's had for all these years over you. So that's one of the reasons why is that ego doesn't want to let go. But you got to stand your ground. You got to do this process. It is now 19 years later, and I'm still doing it. I do it every day. I still do it, and my aura, my vibrant energy keeps getting bigger and bigger. But if I ever stopped, then I would give the opportunity for ego to take over. The second thing that why we don't love ourselves is because life's distractions. Life happens, and then we start putting life number one instead of yourself. Oh, I got to go run some errands, or I got to go see somebody because they're sick, or I got to take care of this errand, or I got some business here, I got to go pay this bill, I got to do the cooking, or I got to go see my lover, or I got to do this, I got to do it, and life starts distracting you. And what you're doing right then and there is you're putting yourself number 2, number 3, number 7, number 12. When in reality, you should put yourself number 1. I'm not saying not to do those other things, but what I'm saying is what's more important. And what's more important is that you love yourself.
I love that. You were just mentioning that life happens. So what I would like to ask you is, how important do you think is to have a routine that reminds that or anchors that self-love? And what kind of routine you might have in your personal life?
Well, okay, so I already told you about that process about every night and every morning. Let's say I go shopping, or better yet, I get in my car and I see my eyes in the rearview mirror. I tell myself I love you. I absolutely love you, or I honor you. If I'm shopping and I look in a glass, and I'm looking through a window and I see the reflection of me, I tell myself I love you. But it comes from my heart. It doesn't come from ego. If I go to a ball game and I go to the restroom, if I go to a restaurant, I go to the restroom while I'm washing my hands, I say I love you. I absolutely love you. So I keep reminding myself how important I am. I keep reminding myself that I am the essence of the Creator, that I am somebody important, that I was put here for a reason, and I have something here to accomplish.
First of all, thank you so much for your words. And it's beautiful what you're sharing. What comes to me, and I really wanna talk about this, is why do we talk about love in the first place? And when I say we, I mean so many people are talking about love. So many people are putting so much emphasis on the importance of love. And love, like the word love, it's so charged in some ways. But what is your opinion on that word? On why it's so relevant? Why is it your core message?
Okay, so and great question. God, I'm loving you, man. These are great questions. I've been interviewed a lot, and you're asking me great questions. I appreciate your openness. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
And let me give you one more compliment. The fact that you're open and you're being guided tells me how vibrant you are. Because if you're not, in order to ask questions like that, you have to be vibrant. So I congratulate you that you are vibrant. Okay, so go and so now and hopefully you'll understand why you were guided to ask this question with the answer I'm about to give you. The creator of all creation, okay, you can call it whatever you want, God, Jesus, Buddha, Allah, Muhammad, whatever.
I call it the whatever.
Okay, there you go. The creator, and I don't even call it, my description is the creator of all creation.
Beautiful.
The creator of all creation is love. It created everything from love. It could not have created anything other than that. It did it out of love. So the creator of all creations, the essence of that energy is love. Therefore, everything that he created or the creator created is love. Everything. The energy is love. It's all love. Absolutely everything came. The source came from love. Everything that was created is love. Therefore, what am I? I am the essence of love. I came here to be the spark of love. I came here to be love. I came here to emanate love. I came here to show love. I came here to expand the energy of love, to cultivate or to cultivate or accelerate the momentum of love. Or the light. That's the reason why I'm here. But the thing is, we forget because life happens, because our ego takes over, everything else becomes number one. And then until we open our eyes and our hearts and our minds and our bodies and our being, that we one day realize, wait a minute, I'm more than what I thought I was. I am the essence or the spark of the creator or of source. And therefore, if that's the case, which I believe to be, then I must be love. And if I am love, then I must function from love. I must be love. I must emanate the energy of love. And that's the foundation for everything.
Diaz, when you're speaking, I just tap into that truth, that wisdom, and it's unlocking things in my personal life already. And what comes to me to ask you, I love what you said, and you said, I came here to be love, right? And we were talking about purpose. So one of my questions is, do you believe there is a core purpose in everyone that is the same one? And what would it be? Okay, interesting.
No, okay, all right. There is a universal purpose or a collective purpose, and that's love. Okay? But we all have a value or a gift or a purpose or a reason or a why or a what. We all are unique. Okay, so I can see you right here, right now, Skype, and I can see you're very vibrant, and I can see that you are filled. You are filled with a lot of energy, and you're very vibrant. So I can see that, I can hear it, and I can sense it, and I can feel it. And if you want to call it love, then so be it. But you also have a very unique purpose. There is something that you can do that nobody else can do the way you do it. And that's the reason why you came here. You agreed and said, you know what? I'm going to go down and I'm going to show everybody how to do blah, 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 whatever the blah, 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 blah is. And Al Diaz came down here. Yeah, Al, you're loved, but you know what? You have a very unique purpose. You have a core value that you're going to show the rest of humanity or whatever it is that you're going to do, and you're going to do it. So yeah, there is a universal purpose, but there's also a very unique purpose or gift or value that we each have, because nobody can do what I can do, and nobody can do what you can do. But you're here to show the rest of us how to do it. You're here to show the rest of us what it's like to be whatever your purpose is.
I love that difference. I really clarifies many things. For someone, Diaz, that is, a little bit lost, someone who is working 45 hours a week, does not enjoy life, it's, in the system that most of the people in this planet, when they hear the word purpose, how can people that are in that, system, or working so much or so disconnected with their own feeling of happiness, just to put it in simple words, start connecting with both purposes, with their universal purpose, as you were mentioning, love, be love, and their unique purpose, and how to know when we are in that unique purpose?
Okay, so the first one, to be love, or the universal purpose, is I've already given you a process how to do that. Okay, so that's the foundation. That's like number one. You have to do that. If even if you remember your unique purpose and you don't love yourself, your purpose is not going to be fulfilled, because you have to put yourself number one. That is a must. So universal purpose, I've already given you a process. I have a process that I do where I can guide people within 90 minutes to remember their purpose. I don't tell people what to do or how to be, or I don't even say anything. Through a series of questions, I can guide them to remember their purpose, the reason why they are here. They will remember. They will blurt it out. I've done it for thousands of people around the world. They will remember why they are here. And they will remember the unique purpose. And I could do it. It doesn't take 3 days. It doesn't take 2 weeks. It doesn't take a half a year or 1 year. I've done it for thousands of people, and it could be done within 90 minutes.
I'm already curious and impressed. The first question that comes to me: what happens when people go through your process? What happens when someone finds their purpose, their unique purpose?
Okay, so several things. Some people start crying. Some people start laughing. Some people get really, really quiet because they're just blown away. Some people get sad because it resonates so deep inside with them, but they realize they spent all these years, 20, 30, 40 years, 50 years living this automatic lifestyle of being in the system, and they feel like they wasted their life away and they become sad. Some people start laughing and crying simultaneously. There's different emotions that they go through, but I would say 99% of the people that have gone through this are blown away, and it all resonates with them. They just go like, "Wow, Al, this is phenomenal." And again, I don't tell them what it is. They tell me what it is at the end through a series of questions, and they remember. And that's the thing. So here's the thing. So if you and again, I'm not knocking anybody. But what makes me different from everybody else is I don't tell people what to do or how to be. What I do is I'm a guide. I just guide people to remember the wisdom, the answers they came here with. We came here blessed with the wisdom. There's teachers and gurus and masters and instructors out there that say, you already have the answers within you. You already know, blah, blah, blah. And I get that. I understand that. Another half of them said, keep searching, keep seeking, be the seeker, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to put it real simple. We already are blessed with the wisdom. All we have to do is remember. And I'm going to give you two angles here. I'm going to go the rational, logical aspect, okay? Scientific. What is DNA? DNA is intelligence that's in every cell of the body that's been passed on from our parents, okay? And that's intelligence that exists in every cell. Well, where did your parents get it? From their parents. So what does that mean? In your DNA, you have the intelligence from all of your ancestry, from everything. Everything that's ever happened in your ancestors, the intelligence exists in your DNA in every cell of your body. That means every thought, every emotion, every feeling, every experience, everything you ever gone through. That's why you became the person you became when you were born. That DNA was passed on to you. So scientifically, you have the wisdom of your DNA. All you have to do is tap into that wisdom of your DNA. Now that's scientific. Let's go to the other side, metaphysical. We are connected to Source, and that Source blessed us with wisdom. We came here with the answers already. Why would the Creator, who loves us and who is love, would put us here to struggle and to live in fear? No. It put us here to be a blessing. It put us here to continue on the energy that Source is, that God is. It put us here to keep moving forward. It didn't put us here to struggle. So therefore, we have that wisdom. Now here, let's make it more powerful. What if we tapped into both wisdoms, the scientific version of the DNA and the metaphysical wisdom of Source, and we combined the two? Now that's really powerful, because now you're not limiting yourself for one or the other. You're combining the two, and you're utilizing the two in harmony to move you forward.
I love how you're combining both worlds and how everything tends now to start to integrate, and Diaz, what would you say is your unique purpose, if you want to share that with us?
Oh yeah, I've shared it with a bunch of people. Are you ready for this?
Absolutely, yes.
Allow heaven on earth.
Mm-hmm.
That's my purpose. And I'm not saying create heaven on earth or manifest heaven on earth. It's allow heaven on earth.
Exactly what I wanted to ask you. Why did you choose the word allow?
Because okay, so let me tell you what heaven is to me, and I don't mean it in a religious context. Heaven to me is optimal, joyous harmony, both within myself internally and externally in my reality. So optimal, joyous harmony is heaven to me. Now, in order to allow heaven on earth, that means it already exists within me. I just got to allow it to exist. Allow it to exist both internally within me and externally in my reality.
Diaz, I'll share something kind of personal, because I really love what you're saying, and it's opening things for myself. what I like calling, and it's so in alignment with what you're doing. And thank you so much for sharing your personal purpose. It's huge. And it's so simple and so beautiful and so needed.
Thank you.
I love that you use the word allowing. I just want to make a little bit of a comment here, because I like to call this same purpose embodiment of truth, right? Embodiment of truth, but I'm just tapping into what you're using is allowing. And this is the how. It's like, how do we embody truth, or how do we embody this energy that it's already within us? And just because you're using the word allowing, it's so powerful, because it's like it's showing us the way of how to actually allow heaven on earth.
Correct. And again, so here's another word that a lot of people are using right now is flow, to be in the flow. I buy into that, and I believe in order to be in the flow, you got to be able to allow. Because if you're all, and again, I as I was awakening, I bought into manifesting, and then eventually creating, and then eventually attracting. They all work. Okay, you can create, you can manifest, and you can attract. Law of attraction. That all works. But what's more powerful and what's easier, it takes less effort, is to allow. And when you start allowing, then you really get into the flow.
I love what you're saying. It's just, and apparently what happens is that manifestation just happens naturally, right?
Right.
I love that you're tapping into that core thread that
right.
we tend to forget. So, Diaz, I was reading in your bio that you were talking about absolute clarity and how this is related to the mind. And you were just tapping into the concept that the mind is not, correct me if I'm wrong, but not even able to grasp what is beyond that. But you're talking about absolute clarity. I don't know if I'm clear with my question.
No, I get where you're coming from. Okay, so as I mentioned before, the mind only knows by the information that it's been given or the experiences it's gone through. That's all it knows. It didn't come here with the wisdom like the heart did, which is two totally different things. So from the moment you were born, it accumulates all this information, all this knowledge, which is important, and so that's how it functions from the experiences that you've had, throughout your lifetime, or the books that you read, or what you heard, or somebody else told you. It's an accumulation of information and knowledge. Okay, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, and I don't like using those words, but I'm using it now. So whatever that knowledge and information, it accumulates it. Now, all of a sudden, something of the unknown, something it doesn't understand, something comes into your life, or the wisdom of your heart speaks up and says, well, what about this? And then your mind goes, wait a minute, that doesn't compute. I don't get that. I don't understand. I haven't had that experience. That's scary. Wait a minute, that doesn't feel good. Wait a minute, hold on. Wait a minute. I'm not sure I want to do that, because that's a scary thought. Because then it starts telling your heart, no, I hear you, what you're saying, but it doesn't make sense, because I have nothing to base it on. And what happened with me is that I had the epiphany that the wisdom of my heart was much more powerful than the knowledge of my mind. And when I understood that, then I realized that it was time my mind or my ego to become my servant and to serve the wisdom of my heart. And then I took it even further, and I said, not only that, but I wanted them to function in optimal joyous harmony together as one. So the wisdom will support the knowledge, and the knowledge will support the wisdom. Mm-hmm. That is the clarity that I had.
When you were saying that you had an epiphany, and this is something I'm sensing when I'm tapping into your, energy and who you are, I can sense, and correct me if I'm wrong, someone who have had many spiritual awakenings. You have you're embodying that awakening here and anchoring here and expressing all your wisdom from that knowing experience. If you would like to share any of those, tipping points in your life, that would be amazing, and we can, explore that a little bit more.
Javi, you're good. You're really good. Okay, so another epiphany, or what I started to realize in over the years is, a lot of people talk about intuition, and that intuition, and I get that and I understand that. But what I realized, or the epiphany that I had, is that I had an inner knowing. I knew things. I didn't have to guess. It wasn't intuition. I mean, people used to tell me, "Oh, that's just your intuition." No, it was a knowing, and I just knew I knew, and I have a feeling right now as I'm talking to you, it all started because I was able to love myself from that foundation. And because I loved myself, I tapped into the inner knowing that I had. And because of that, I started living by two mantras that I will share right now: to trust beyond hope and to know beyond faith. And those are the two mantras I live. And not that hope and faith are not important, they're vital. But I go to the next level, to trust beyond hope and to know beyond faith. And that's how I live and function from. I can't tell you it's going to happen, that it happened overnight. I had to evolve. I had to start trusting beyond hope. I had to start knowing beyond faith. But it all came, those two mantras came to me because I loved myself, and I realized that I had this knowing within me. And I know, there's things I just know. I just know. And nobody can take that away from me.
It's absolutely beyond doubt.
Yes.
What I really, really love about what you're saying is that this trusting beyond hope and this knowing beyond faith came apparently afterwards, after the process of really loving yourself.
Correct.
Which gives me the sense of, I'm going to use the word hope, for so many people that are just going to start this journey of loving themselves, right? And as you were sharing, so many things open up when you start doing that.
So now you tapped into something else. When you start loving yourself, so I'm going to get into an explanation here.
Love it.
So several things happen. When you start loving yourself, you raise your vibration, you raise your energy, you raise your frequency. You're loving yourself, you're raising your energy. And what starts happening is the experiences, the situations, the people, the resources that were matching your energy at that point, before you started, start melting away. And what that does is it creates a vacuum or a void. And life, or the universe, says, okay, you're creating a void because these people, situations, resources, experiences are no longer part of you. We have to fill it now with something else. Well, it gets filled with a new vibration. New people, new resources, new experiences, new situations start coming towards you to match you. And you don't even have to say nothing. It automatically just starts happening. The experiences you used to have no longer happen because you're raising your vibration. That's number one. Number two is so ever since we're very little, because we get hurt, we get disappointed, we get sad, we suffer a little bit, we start building an invisible wall around us because we don't want to get hurt anymore. And life is trying to continue to bless us. But we got this invisible wall around us, and the blessings can't get through because we don't allow it, because we're scared, we're following ego, we're in fear, we've been hurt before, we don't want to get hurt no more. We're tired of the struggle, so therefore I'd rather be in this little comfort level, in this bubble, and stay where I'm at, because at least I know I'm not going to get hurt. And so we build this wall around us. But when you start loving yourself, when you look in the mirror, start loving yourself, that wall starts coming down. Because what happens is you start trusting yourself. You start believing in yourself. Your self-worth starts going up. And eventually one day that wall goes all the way down and life will start blessing you. And here's the most important one. Humanity, most of humanity are givers. They give, 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 give. I know I did. You live in the paradigm of giving until it hurts, or giving is receiving. And you give, and you go, when is it my turn? When do I finally get blessed? I see all the other people that that are lucky or blessed and they get everything, blah blah blah. But what starts happening when you do this process of loving yourself in the mirror, what are you doing when you say, I absolutely love you? You're giving, and simultaneously in that moment, you're receiving. What are you telling the universe? What are you telling life? What are you telling God? What are you telling Source that you have the ability to receive? What are you internalizing to yourself that you have the ability to receive? So then right then and there, you start evolving and you start shifting your energy that not only the invisible wall starts coming down, you're acknowledging yourself to you and to everybody else that you have the ability to receive. And number 3 is you're raising your vibration.
Amazing. Thank you for that. Like, it clarifies so many things.
You're welcome.
What comes to me, Diaz, is what are the challenges, and let's see if we can tap into this question, this answer, right? That happens or arises when we start loving ourselves. Because you talk about vibration, you talk about things that are going to start melting away, and that in essence, our whole life is going to change. So.
Oh, mine did. Okay, how can I word this? So 15 years ago, or maybe 19 years ago, I had hundreds of friends. I mean, hundreds, but not for the right reasons. I was very popular and I had a lot of friends. And when I started to awaken, I lost a lot of them. I would say probably 80% of them. Even childhood friends from 4th grade, when I was 9 years old. I mean, because they thought I was weird and different. I was not the same old guy that I was used to before. Even my family became a little distant from me. But what I got in return is now I might have lost a couple hundred friends, but now I have tens of thousands of friends around the world. And so I gained phenomenal experiences because I let go what no longer served me. And it will melt away. And I'm talking even relationships or friendships or experiences or situations, even the way you think. As you raise your vibration, you get out of that comfort zone that you lived for all these years, and you raise your vibration and you start thinking differently, you start feeling differently, you start seeing differently, you start thinking differently. You just in the situations that come towards you are very different. Now, because these are new and different, that could be a challenge because you get scared and you go, oh, wait a minute, I've never dealt with this before. Because now maybe you experience something of a very high vibration, or a person that's in a very high vibration comes and meets you, and you're going, holy Toledo, well, wait a minute, what's going on here? And so that happens. But you got to trust in yourself and believe in yourself and love yourself that you could get through. And that's where you get trust beyond hope, that you could get to the other side of that veil.
Diaz, if you can remember those moments when you were transitioning from your, when you start doing this of loving yourself, and you're transitioning from letting go all your friends and moving and stepping into a life that is unknown still, were there a point where you doubted? Were there a point when what kept you going?
Okay, so this is a 2-part answer. Before I knew what my purpose was, what kept me going was that to love myself. I believed in myself enough that I loved myself, and that I mattered, that I was important. And believe me, I had doubts, and I questioned it. I was scared. What am I doing? This is crazy. Here's the best example that I can give you, and this is before I knew my purpose. Oh no, actually, it's probably about the same time. But I'll give you one example. The first time I went international, I was going to go to New Zealand and Australia. I already had traveled across the United States on a tour called The Miracle of Love. And now I'm going international to Australia and New Zealand. And people over there invited me to go. And I got dropped off at the airport at LAX. And I'm sitting at the gate, with my luggage and everything. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, who am I, Al Diaz, to go to Australia and New Zealand? Who am I to go over there and start speaking to people? I started crying because I started questioning, like, what gives me the right to go to somebody else's country and start speaking to them, like if I know things? And I almost called my wife at the time. I almost called her up and said, "Hey, come back and pick me up." I opened the phone. I started dialing the number because I got scared. That's how scared I was, because I was thinking, who am I? My ego just flooded me and said, "Get out of here. You're wasting your time. What are you doing?" And I was like an hour away from boarding the plane, and I'm going, "Oh no, you know what? I'm not going." But somehow, some way, I talked to myself and I told myself, you're important. You have something to share. You bring value. And I got on that plane, and going to Australia and New Zealand was probably one of the most phenomenal experiences I ever had. The transformation I saw in my audiences were phenomenal. So, yeah, when you raise your vibration and life says, okay, you think you're up for it? Here's a high vibration. Yeah, you've done, like for me, yeah, you went across the United States. Okay, that's safe. That's comfortable. All right, let's raise your, okay, now this high vibration of going to New Zealand and Australia, and you've never been there before, and you're going to see a bunch of people, you don't even know who they are. You're going to go there. Oh no. But I accepted it because I knew life was meeting me and saying, okay, you want to function in this vibration? Then bring it.
I love how you're sharing that human side, of fears, uncertainty that comes from someone who already is so international, so big, so out there. And I believe this message is going to touch many people that are in that line of like really stepping into sharing their knowledge and supporting other people. And that yes, people like you went through that process, that you step forward anyway.
Right. And here's, so, and from the human aspect, so let me tell you this. When I wrote my first book, I had no clue how to write my first book. Are you kidding me? My English is not that great. My grammar's not that great. I didn't know how to write a book. Are you kidding me? And I only wrote it because people around me said, hey, Al, yeah, you got some wisdom, share it. And I did, and I thought maybe 100 copies would sell. And eventually it sold around the world. My second book, to this day, I still get royalties on my second book. But here's my point. I didn't know how to write a first book, and yet I did it. And because I did that first book, I had 2 books published. I got 1 self-published, and I've collaborated on 3 others. I'm collaborating on another one right now. And then another thing I did is because of those books, I went on a national tour across the U.S., and I've never been on tour before. As a matter of fact, there was a time when I didn't like speaking in front of people. I was scared. I was not comfortable. And here I'm going on producing a speaking national tour across the U.S. to do it. And then after I finish that, I go, okay, I'm going to go on an international tour. I'm going to go to New Zealand, Australia. Oh my goodness, what am I doing? I already told you the story on that. I come home from that, and I said, okay, if I could do that, let me do a mini world tour. So I went across the U.S. to Canada, to Scotland, Australia, New Zealand, and South Korea. And I came home, and I go, wow, I did a mini world tour. So, and then after that, I said, okay, now what's next? The next thing I know, I'm producing a film. And I never did that before. I don't know how to act. I don't know how to produce. Are you kidding me? It was on the job training. Everything that I've done in the last 9 years or 10 years, I've done it for the first time. I've never done any of this before. But you know what? The reason why all that is happening is because I function from the foundation of love. Without that, I would not believe in myself. And anytime any doubt or any question marks or any fear would come in, it would probably win me over. But I'm so determined. I so love myself that I know I could get through anything. I'm not going to say it's easy, but I could get to the other side of the veil.
Thank you for sharing that, Al. I totally see you traveling the world. On the other hand, what I would like to ask you is, where do you get most support from? we talk a little bit about the struggles and the challenges, like facing our fears, but where do you get that lightness, that support, that you're like, I can feel contained here, like this is what I need for me in order to have an easier journey? What do I value?
That's a good question. Okay, so you know what? I'm gonna be vulnerable here. Is that okay?
Absolutely. Thank
Okay.
you so much.
Okay, so last year in 2015, okay, so I was in LA at an event in May of last year, and I came home. It was a 3-day event. It was a VIP, and I get invited to a lot of events because, for whatever reason, I get invited. And so I was a VIP at this event, and I came home on the third day, and make a long story short, my wife wanted a divorce. She was done. Okay, I said okay, whatever. And a few weeks later, like 6 or 7 weeks later, my sister, who I was very close to, suddenly passed away. And I was going, wow, this is getting kind of crazy. And about a week or so later after that, so in 15 weeks, so then the third thing, about a week later, I was informed by my doctor that I have prostate cancer. And so in 15 weeks, I had 3 life-changing events, major. And people were looking at me and saying, God, Al, how are you handling all this? What are you doing to get through all this? I went to an event in November. Wait a minute, I'm trying to think. Okay, I went to an event in November with some of my peers of about 350 people, and the main person, the speaker that was having the event, he invited me to go on stage, and he gave me a minute to whatever I wanted to share. And so I went in front of the audience and I said, how many of you have gone through physical pain? And raise your hands. And then I said emotional pain, spiritual pain, physical pain. How about pain of struggle? How about pain of giving up? How about life-changing events? And by this time, all the audience, all 350 people had their hands raised. And I said, okay, you put your hands down. And I looked at everybody and I said, those are the clients I'm looking for. Those are the clients I want to support. I go, and the reason why I can stand on this stage in front of all of you is because I'm going through 3 life-changing events right now, and I understand. And I put the microphone down, and I walked off stage, and I got an ovation. The reason I'm telling you all this is, and to answer your question, I have a reason. I have something I have to finish. I have something I have to accomplish. I'm not there yet. And obviously you know what it is to allow heaven on earth. I haven't got there yet. I'm going to finish it. I'm going to allow that to happen. So therefore, no matter what happens in my life, that's going to be my driving force. I'm going to fulfill my purpose. I don't want to come back here anymore. I'm done. So I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it done. I'm going to get it right this time. It's going to happen. And that's my driving force, is my purpose. It's the agreement that I made with Source before I came, and I'm going to make it happen.
Oh, I'm so honored that you share with all of us your personal experience. That is so, so your unique journey, and so vulnerable. I'm grateful for that.
Thank you.
Is there any other message that you would like to share? Is there anything that comes to you that you want to imprint in this interview? Let's call it that way.
A few things. I know we talked about this quite a bit, and this cannot be overemphasized. If people are looking for a shift in their life, if people are looking for change, if people are ready to evolve, if people are ready to step forward, if people are ready to make progress, whether it's financial, emotional, mental, spiritual, or physical, if they're looking to go to the next level, whatever it is, you got to have a foundation, and that foundation is to love yourself. Because if you don't love yourself, you will be on a roller coaster ride. Maybe for 3 months, everything will be good. Maybe for a year, everything will be good. Maybe for 5 years, everything will be good, and then it'll all collapse. You have to love yourself. That is the foundation for everything. Now, the second thing, and I know we touched on this too, is to have the understanding or the knowing why you're here. I understand you got to support your family. I know you got to take care of yourself. I know that you have responsibilities. I know there are things you got to do for yourself and for others. I get that and I understand that. But when you remember the reason or the why or the what or the calling or the purpose, whatever you want to call it, the reason why you're here, that will be your driving force. You have your foundation of loving yourself, and the driving force is to get you from one end to the other. So when you're on your deathbed, you have no regrets, and you say, you know what, I gave it my best shot. I did the best I could. Now, whether you fulfill it, I guess it depends how committed you are and how determined you are. But knowing that okay, look, I have something here to fulfill. I bring unique value. I bring something very unique that nobody else can do, but we all do. And when you understand what that is, that will drive you. That will be the driving force and say, look, I'm going to finish this. I came here to do it. I'm going to get it done, and nothing's going to stop me. And here's another aspect to all that. When you understand, and just like I said a few minutes ago, people are wondering, Al, how come you're not in a corner somewhere in the fetus position crying, with everything that went on in your life? How come you're still walking around? How can you get on stage in front of 350 people and pretend like nothing's wrong and blah, blah, blah?
Great questions.
But you know what? I'm going to tell you, Javi, here's an understanding. When you know the reason why you're here and your purpose or your reason or whatever, the source or God is going to support you. It's not going to abandon you. Okay, you figured it out, Al. All right, now you're on your own. No, are you kidding me? You'll get more support because it wants you to complete it. It wants you to finish it. It wants you to fulfill your purpose. It doesn't want to put obstacles in front of you. Now it's got your back. Are you kidding me? Now it's pushing you, because it wants you to finish it. So understand that. So here's a best example I could give you, like people like yourself that come into my life. I was interviewed on another radio show yesterday. All of a sudden, all this support, it's like I proved to life, to the universe, to God, to source, hey, you can handle those 3 life-changing events. Oh, we got your back now. Are you kidding? We're going to take care of you now. You prove to us that you really want to finish this. And all of a sudden, all these resources and situations and experiences come to support me and push me and say, we got your back. But you have to understand the reason why you're here, and you gotta want it. You gotta be committed and determined to finish it. And all of a sudden, all this energy of support comes from behind you to push you forward, to support you.
I totally agree with you. I can relate with my personal journey that is, as you're saying.
Awesome.
Yes. I am delighted. Like, seriously, I can't believe we're already been an hour talking, and for certain, there's so many other things that we could talk about. It has been a beautiful, beautiful interview. I really, really enjoyed it.
Thank you. Well, you know what? I enjoy your energy. I like your vibrant energy. It's phenomenal.
Likewise, absolutely. Diaz, so if you want to share with us, where can people find you? That would be amazing, actually.
Okay, so I have a couple of websites. One is rewriteyourstory.com. No, rewritestory.com. And the other one is mylifepurposeandgift.com. And you can reach me there. Also, I'm going to do something here because I love your energy. Normally, okay, so I have this life purpose discovery sessions, and there's 4 sessions. The first session is to remember your purpose within 90 minutes. The second session is the power and the fuel to fulfill your purpose, which is love. The third session is one powerful question you can ask yourself in any experience that you're going through on a daily basis in daily life that will help you to fulfill your purpose, whether it's a thought, a spoken word, an emotion, a feeling, a relationship, you name it. It's an experience. You can ask this one question, and it will support you to either keep going on the journey that you're on or stop the journey that you think you're supposed to be on. So it's a very powerful thing. And the last session is consciously we can know what our purpose is, but as we all know, your subconscious has more power. And if your subconscious doesn't understand the validity or the truth of your purpose, then it's going to override your consciousness. And next thing, you're going to go back to square one. So what I do in the fourth session is I imprint or cement the purpose into your subconscious mind. So that way it accepts it and it supports your conscious mind in harmony. And normally what I do for those 4 sessions is $777. I'll do it for your audience for $277, all 4 sessions. And I will tell you, it will rock your world. And what I also look at, so out of that, and I'm gonna give you a secret that I don't tell too many people. Part of my journey, no, let me rephrase that. Part of my purpose, okay, so you know my purpose is to allow heaven on earth. Mm-hmm. And I'm doing that by guiding people to remember their purpose. So can you imagine if 1 million people knew the reason why they are here, the shift that it would do on the collective consciousness? Because it will create a ripple effect. And eventually, as more and more people live their purpose and start serving each other instead of competing with each other, then we create the capability of allowing heaven on earth, at least in our external reality. And and all the people that are remembering their purpose, they're remembering what's inside themselves, which allows them to allow heaven on earth within them. Well, I could be in front of a seminar, 1,000 people a week, for the rest of my life, and I'll never get to 1 million. Because I already know, okay, here's my inner knowing. I already know I'm going to be guiding millions of people. I already know that for a fact. That's going to happen. But in order to get to that point, there's no way I can do it by myself. So out of these 4 sessions, what I do, here's my secret, is that I pick certain people that I feel are ready. And what I started doing about 9 months ago is I started certifying guides to do what I do, because this process is very sacred, and I want to keep it sacred. So I have to be very careful with who I choose. So I'm announcing to your audience is that, if you want to move forward and evolve, then for 277, let's get it together. And if there's a few of you that hey, that I see and I feel that you really can support this ripple effect, then I will ask you. I normally don't go public with that. I'm being guided to go public with, maybe it's your audience, I don't know, but I'm sharing that.
Thank you so much. I feel tremendously honored that you share all of this with our audience. For certain, I'm not sure never who is going to be listening to this, but I'm just sure that it's going to be perfect. And these people that are listening are the ones that are connected to you, your path, or and my own journey as well. And everyone's, we're so
the people that are connected to your energy,
right?
Which is very vibrant, as I said.
I'm tremendously grateful for everything you've shared. Thank you so much for sharing your personal journey in such a human way. People already know where can they find you, and for certain, when we invest in our own self-development, it's for sure the best thing you can do. Like, it will shift everything, and everything that you invest, it will come to you multiplied.
Can I say one comment to you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you for being a joyous blessing in our life. I greatly appreciate you.
I really appreciate that as well.
Thank you.
Thank you all.